Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am up early with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. How you doing today, babe?
Good morning. How you feeling this morning?
Feeling good, feeling good. We went to the gym yesterday, and that was cool. I enjoyed lifting weights with you.
How's your arms feel? How's your body feel
My
from
body
lifting weights?
feels good. It's
You don't have the burn. You don't have a burn from the next day.
nah. Well, like I stretch. Do you stretch after you work
I
out?
stretch, but I got a burn.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, you got all those jiggly parts. Sexy jiggly parts.
I
You're
like my
jiggling,
jiggle.
baby. Go
I
ahead,
like.
baby.
I have to say, like we were talking about that this weekend with the family. That the best way of losing weight and getting your body in shape is to just love the body that you have.
Mm,
That's the first step.
okay.
Just love
Well,
it.
I guess if you love something, you want to make it better. So that might be a good way to look at it. Because I mean, if I'm like 100 pounds overweight, I'm not gonna really like love my body.
You have to. It starts there. It starts with just loving your body.
So self love. Everybody type
Mm-hmm.
self love in the
Self
chat.
body love.
Type body love in the chat.
Yeah.
Hello, El Cinico. El Cinico, he says, you are an inspiration, Uncle Boyce. Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for those kind words. Joy Harden and Gold Mine Tree Tribe TV. Smash that like button. Thank you. Yes,
That's
please hit
what's
the
up.
like button. Uh, Tariq says, what it do? What
What
it
it
do?
do? That's right.
What
That's
it
what it
do?
is.
What it do?
Yeah, I mean you have three children.
What it
I've
do?
had three children,
What it did?
boys.
What about three children? What's it got to do with what it do?
Well, it has to do with your body. Your body changes when you have children, but you gotta love it anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, are we still talking about that?
well, he said what it do. I was thinking about that. But you are right. Three
Oh
children
wait.
will work your body out.
Oh, I thought we were talking about
You know what?
exercise.
Shout out to mothers. I mean, really, thank you.
You're
Seriously,
welcome.
that is like the ultimate job. Like that, y'all understood the assignment. That is like, I mean, really to be able to like, first of all, to make that sacrifice of what
It's a
having a baby does to
sacrifice.
your body,
Hmm.
your hormones, the pain of childbirth.
It hurts. Yeah, it's very painful.
I mean, it's crazy.
Just it's well, in the uncomfortableness of being pregnant sometimes. Well, you know what? Shout out to the men, to the black men that help us in our in our childbirth, and
True that.
shout out to the
Thank you.
work it takes. It's a team
Thank you. We
to
accept your
raise these kids.
we accept your apology.
Apology.
I'm playing. I'm playing. Well, today the topic we wanted to hit was this interesting story. You were reading this story this morning and on Acorns TV and it was basically where apparently there's a study that says that 70% of all Americans think that they're middle class, which
Isn't
I
that
mean,
funny?
it's fascinating because that can't be true. It
It
can't.
can't be. I think the study was really interesting because they asked economists. And they said, "What's going on here?" They're like, it's more like 31% of
Mm,
Americans are living in the middle class lifestyle, are
wow.
actually middle class based on their income and what middle class means." Ooh, okay. And
Distracted me.
you are so you are so funny. Anyway, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. And then they asked a bunch of psychologists and sociologists, what do they think? And
Mm.
and then they kind of explained it a little better.
Well, it's interesting to me. It's almost like how like when somebody says 80% of all people feel like they're above average, which is,
Uh,
again is impossible. And so let me read the article, and then we can kind of
mhm.
understand this, because I think it's interesting, because for me as a financial person, it's
Mhm.
interesting to me, but also with you being a person that understands psychology really well,
Mhm.
I know that
Mhm.
that's what got your attention. So it says about 70% of Americans consider themselves middle class, according to a 2017 study by Northwestern Mutual. But according to most economists' definitions, that's not possible. One of the ways the Brookings Institute defines middle class is those in the 20th to 80th percentiles of household income. This would make 60% of American households middle class.
Oh.
Okay, there. So, well,
Okay.
that's. I mean, that's what they say. 70%. Okay. The Urban Institute defines middle class as those whose income is from 250% to 499% of the federal poverty line. By
Mm-hmm.
this measure, 31% of households were middle class in 2019, and that's before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pew Research Center, which uses government data to take into consideration household sizes and income, found that 52% of Americans live in a middle income household in 2018. So let's see.
Wait, so economists can't even agree on what's middle class?
No, the economists don't agree on nothing.
Y'all don't agree on it. Are you an economist? You're not really an
I'm an economist. I mean, I had economics PhD students in my classes.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like economics, finance and economics are like cousins.
Uh-huh.
Like finance is basically applied economics. It's a type of economics.
Wow, I think social work and economics are cousins too,
Yeah.
because we're always interested in why people are poor
Mm, yeah.
and what
Yeah.
safety nets are there for them.
Yeah. You
You
can
know.
imagine a lot of economists that out here that study poverty.
Yeah.
How it works, where it comes from, how to alleviate it, and things like that. So I can see that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's what else they said. They said conflating income and class is a mistake, though. Some experts say the reason so many Americans believe they are middle class has nothing to do with income, but other cultural indicators. Some broader definitions of the middle class factor in are education, occupation, self perception, or mindset. Interesting. So they're saying
Mm.
that a lot of times being middle class isn't just about how much money you make, it's about how your brain works and how you feel about your life and the profession you have. And what's interesting to think about just college in general and how
Mm-hmm.
college has created so many like highly educated poor people, right? Like seriously, like
Yeah.
I'm 150,000 in debt. I make 40,000 a year, but I have a piece of paper on my wall that reminds me consistently that I'm better than you.
Well, I mean, think about like if you make however much money that you make, it's the type of job you have. Like, are you putting on a suit and tie and going to work, getting up and driving and going to work?
Mm.
Where do you live? Who are your friends? How you hanging out on the weekends? What are you doing with your life? That's more of a middle class. So if you live um in a neighborhood that with high poverty, high crime neighborhood, and you make $40,000 a year, you're a different person than somebody who lives in the suburbs making $40,000 a year.
That's so true.
Yeah,
That
it's a lifestyle. I think that's what they mean by cultural.
Well, it's interesting. Because I remember seeing a TED talk from a black woman
Hmm.
who was a graduate of Harvard University, and she talked about how broke she was. She talked about just like how embarrassing it was because she had to maintain this image of doing well
Uh-huh.
because she went to Harvard. Of course, you're doing well. You went to Harvard. She had an MBA
Yeah.
from
Why?
Harvard. Of all degrees, she had an MBA.
Okay. Well, hold on. What's wrong with her that she isn't doing well?
I
Like,
don't I don't know, but white people invited her to do a TED talk.
oh, okay. But that doesn't make. Here's the thing. Like, getting a college degree in and of itself is not going to automatically put you somewhere. It's what you do with it. It's a tool,
Yeah,
right?
but processes. This is what's really interesting. Just speaking on the lady from Harvard,
Mm-hmm.
who was struggling financially. I mean, like flat broke, and had an MBA. She had an MBA, Masters in Business Administration. Business is about making money.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, wow. Like she gave the TED talk, and it was, so the audience was full of these liberal white people who were like, oh my god, that is so terrible.
What
That
did
that
she talk about? Because it's got to
well,
be. I'm thinking it's
well,
multifaceted.
she talked about the stress of pretending, having to pretend to be something she wasn't, because she was pretending like she was living the Harvard lifestyle, and she would go to a fancy dinner and like be checking her bank account balance, and it would be like $22, and she'd be hoping somebody else would pay the tab.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions for her because what I'm saying is that having a Harvard degree, you have to use that. Like, why is she not using that? You have networks, and how did she spend her time in college? Did she not have friends? Did she not have friends? And there's a social capital to going to a school like that. It's like she did not understand the assignment. She didn't know. Like, there's no excuse for that.
Well, what
you
what
know
what actually happened was I would be willing to bet you that um she now
Was she
just
cranky? Was she hard to get along with?
no,
I don't know what it is. It's got to be some personal, individual factors. Well,
there
it's multifaceted, right?
right there were, but it's and I agree with you, right? And that's kind of what we do. We'll take something that is specific to the person,
Uh huh.
but we'll make it systematic. Like this happened to you because you're black. But most black Harvard graduates I know are not, um, struggling financially. So I think, in her name, here she
Oh,
is,
you found
and
it.
I don't want to
Okay.
make fun of her. Her name was Elizabeth White.
Uh
She
huh.
did a TED talk. It's called 55 Unemployed and Faking Normal. And I would be willing to bet you that what tends to occur is when you have a certain status, like you went to a fancy school and all that, everybody's like, "Oh, look at you, you went to Harvard." So you kind of have to fake it, like you gotta, or not fake it, but you gotta like maintain a certain image. You have to live in a certain kind of house, drive a certain kind of car, wear certain kind of clothes, or people feel that way,
But
right?
she should be able, with a Harvard degree, she should be able to get a job.
You would think that,
I
right?
have a lot of questions for this lady.
Right. I would
What's
ask.
going on with
Right,
you?
right. And she did tell the story as if it was like I have no idea how this happened to me. Like
Like,
this
hello.
is yeah. Well,
She's smart enough to get into Harvard, but not smart enough to do anything with it.
but you know what? I don't want to clown her. Right? I don't want to make fun
I
of her.
just have a lot of questions. That's
I
all.
would ask questions. I would
Hmm.
certainly ask questions, and I think what really got to me about that was it made me think about what Dr. Claude Anderson always talks
Hmm.
about how white schools will teach black people how to manage a white man's business, but will never teach them how to build a business of their own.
Oh, I absolutely 100% agree with that. But even when you're managing the white man's business, they pay you for that.
Yeah. Well, it could be.
Even though we know that black people make less money for the same job. We understand that, but it still has to be a living wage.
It could just be overspending. Like it could just be, maybe I made 75K and I
Girl,
spent 90K. I mean, if you do that, like if you are a person who makes, if you're a person who makes 200K and you spend 250, you're worse off than a person who makes, 60K and spends 45.
yeah, so what's going on that she feels like she has to spend so much money?
Well,
You
Harvard,
know that she
like,
has to waste all that money.
well, I mean, again, it's like,
But it's
I mean, again, it's the elite image. Like that's
hmm
like I encourage everybody to let go of that stuff. Like let go of trying to keep up with the Joneses and present an elite image, especially if you know you're doing well financially. You
hmm
ain't gotta impress nobody. Who cares what those fools think?
yeah.
Seriously, when
Well,
when when we went to buy our car, we got the car that we wanted because
hmm
we wanted to be comfortable in our car. We did not think for 1 second about, oh, what are the neighbors gonna think about our car?
no,
Oh,
we don't think about that. But I mean, wait, am I considered a graduate of a elite school? Probably, right? University of Chicago.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
that yeah yeah
I
duh.
mean, I don't remember. Like, I just remember, like, there's always networks there. There are always people you can connect with. People I graduated with, they're doing great things right now. I could
Mm,
always reach out to them and say, "Hey, what's up?" These are black people doing wonderful things in Chicago, and
hmm
I could just I connect with them. Hey, what's up? If I ever needed a job or
But
if
it's
I
not
needed
about. But you
connections,
understand. It's not
I could
about.
rely on that.
Yeah, but you're missing. I think you're missing a little bit of the point,
Okay,
babe.
what am I missing?
It's not about having a job. There are plenty of people that have jobs and good jobs
Uh
who are
huh.
struggling financially. It's more about like how you spend your money,
Oh, okay.
right? Like
Okay.
if this lady is making 100 grand and spending 120 grand a year,
Hmm.
then you're losing.
So
You know.
who's she going to dinner with? It's like, are you gonna pay $50 for a dinner? Let's just say, and it's an investment. It's like a networking dinner where you're making networks and you're connecting with people and you have all these opportunities. She's an MBA, right? She should be able to.
Yeah, but sometimes you can network and it just doesn't give you what you're looking for. I mean,
Yeah. So
Jill,
that's why it makes me wonder about her individual things. Like,
yeah,
is she prickly kind of a person? Is she
she could be.
hard to be around? I don't know.
Well, you
It's
never know. I mean,
personal
well,
traits, I
and
believe.
we can't speculate on who she is,
I'm just
as
throwing
a person,
ideas out there.
right? And and maybe it was a matter of, and I got to go watch her TED talk again, but maybe it's a matter of her feeling like because she was 55, maybe there was some ageism Like, you know, a lot of companies don't want to hire somebody in their 50s.
That's so true.
They rather hire that young 29-year-old or 32-year-old or whatever, right? So it is all possible, right? But I would just say at the end of the day, um, I believe for Black people, you got to be able to create your own destiny. Like that was my solution. The day unemployment never even entered into my universe ever again was when I made myself, what's the word? I made myself unemployable, and I put myself in a position where I'm never gonna fire myself. Like Boyce always got a job. I can always apply for a job, and I know Boyce will bet on me.
Oh, don't do that.
I know it's third. I'm speaking about myself in the third
Can you
person.
just try to make it?
Dr.
Please
Watkins,
don't do that.
Dr. Watkins will always bet on Boyce.
You know,
And
that's if I could. That's a pet peeve of mine.
I know, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it because I'm feeling the Holy Spirit. Seriously, I'm
The
feeling.
Holy Spirit's not telling you to speak in the third person.
Yes, being economically free. Like any are there any economically free Black people in the building? Like anybody who's had a little bit of a come up, maybe the last couple of years. I want you to just give me a yes in the chat if you just feel so good each day, like getting up knowing that your life is full of possibilities that you didn't have before. I don't know about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know, but
You're not the only one. You know, there's plenty of people out there.
yeah,
I can feel it.
it's a good feeling. You know, like the day I knew I didn't have to go serve that man no more. Like that was the best feeling. Like for a Black man, I don't know. I mean, you know, you're a cute red bone, so maybe the white man. I'm sure Master's much
Easier
nicer
on
than.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we were on the plantation, I'd probably be in the field. You know, he might invite you into the
Sort of in the
house.
field. I don't know. I think you'd be the driver.
I could be. I
You'd
don't
be the
know.
driver. I for sure would be in the house,
Nah, I'll be.
getting
Well, Master
being
would.
treated very cruelly in that
Well,
house,
Master wouldn't
the
want
big
me
house.
around because Master wouldn't wake up that morning. I'd be the one who eventually like made sure Master didn't get up.
Oh, we would stage a coup for sure. We'd be out of there.
Oh, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, we'd be
Get away,
conspiring.
boys, in your horse and carriage.
That's true. I'd be like, okay, you go in there and you gain their trust. You get them to let
Oh,
their
I
guard down.
poison their food and everything. Everybody be dead in the house.
There we
Anyway,
go.
so
That's
get
right.
back to the middle
Nice
class.
mentally healthy conversation.
I sure would do it.
Okay, so
Anyway,
yeah, so anyway, by the way, we this is Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins, and this is where we lay against our pillows and talk about a bunch of stuff that, you know, in case you ever wonder what two college professors talk about when we wake up in the morning and we're laying in bed. This is the stuff that we talk about. So we decided to make it into a podcast. You can follow Alicia at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And actually, she and I are teaching a class on the drama-free family, actually on December 5th. So if you want to join us for that class, you can go to Coaching with Dr. Alicia on Instagram, click the link in the bio, and there should be a link for the drama-free family class.
is it on sale?
It should be. I don't know. We can go check.
I think it's a Cyber Week,
Yeah. Okay.
Cyber Monday week sale.
Yeah, that's always just, everybody's got sales for
Everybody's
everything.
got sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyway, if you guys want to join us, feel free. It's built around dealing with baby mama, baby daddy drama that so many of us have confronted. Dealing with issues with children, blended families where you bring your families together. And these tools, you know, are proven by research. And I think that it's beneficial to learn how to just get along, you know, especially with the holidays coming or we're in the holidays and everything.
Yeah, I also think that it's also important that I would like for us to focus on forgiveness. You know, having that sort of forgiveness and gratitude and appreciation is really important when you're dealing with all these different people in your family.
Yeah.
Extended family, exes, new boyfriends, new husbands.
No. Yeah.
You know, all of that. It takes a level of understanding other people's perspectives.
Oh my God, does it
and
ever?
the challenges that all of us face.
Does it ever? Oh
Yeah.
my God, you're so right. You're so right about that. You know, it's tough. You know, and the thing is, you know, we got to remember, you know, we also have a culture where we came up from slavery. You
Yeah.
know, and it creates a lot of complexities in terms of how we deal with each other and how we feel about ourselves and things like that. And last night, by the way, everybody, I did a deep dive lecture that you can actually be a part of for free. Every week we do the book club, and we read Dr. Claude Anderson's books. We're reading Black Labor, White Wealth, and
Wow.
they were talking about in the book. He was mentioning how America could not have survived if it hadn't been for the slaves.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you're right.
yeah,
In the South for sure, because the South was making a ton of money off the cotton. I mean, they were shipping that stuff out everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
And the sugar cane
yeah,
too.
and even
Yeah.
in the very beginning, like 1619 to 1660,
Yeah.
where they really started to codify and really document the fact that black people are subordinate to whites. Like this is when they started making it into law and all that.
Yeah.
Like the very infancy of slavery in America. They the big thing going on was they had all this land. The white people had received all this free land, and they were like, we don't know how to, we can't do anything with this land. We need a workforce. We need a reliable workforce of people who can be disciplined, unpaid, and subordinate, who would just
Mm-hmm.
know their place. And that's when they started to really indoctrinate the idea of black people being inferior and being slaves. So this, it was a 400-year thing.
And Native Americans couldn't do it, right?
Well, Native
That was
Americans,
such too much of a
yeah. Well,
challenge.
white people and Native Americans didn't have the stamina,
Mm-hmm.
the physical stamina that black
Mm-hmm.
people had. And also Native Americans, they were just built different.
They were. They
They
are even now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like, if you try to enslave us, I'm going to spend every day figuring out how to kill you.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, like like you won't be able to. You gonna sleep with both eyes open because
Mm-hmm.
I will come in your bedroom at any
Mm-hmm.
point and take you out. And also Native, and because they were spiritual people,
Oh yeah.
they were just super spiritual, and our spirituality was zapped out of us, right? Because they took all that away. But
Yeah.
then also you had,
Plus, they knew the land. They
yeah,
knew what to do. They had. Yeah,
hmm
it was a little more challenging because it's their land or our land because
yeah,
we were part of the Native American
they could get
experience.
away. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, Native Americans, if you enslave somebody from their family, they will come find their loved one. In Africa it's hard to do, right? Because you in Kenya, somebody takes your child and they get on a
Kenya.
boat, yeah, or no,
Yeah.
or Ghana or whatever. They
Mm-hmm.
Somebody takes your child on a boat and they're gone forever. You don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Which I can only imagine the pain that those parents felt, with their children being stolen like that. But in
Ugh,
America, like this was home court for them.
that's
So
right.
they're like, no, you take our baby, like we're going to be able to find you, and
Right.
when we get there, it's going to be hell to
Mm-hmm.
pay. So, so yeah, so black people made the perfect slaves, and what was interesting to me, what really got to me was when Dr. Anderson explained clearly, like they couldn't survive without
Mm-hmm.
you. Like America, all the wealth in America,
Oh.
everything that America is, they owe it to black people. It's almost like if somebody tells you like, oh, this person gave Michael Jackson his first record deal when nobody else would.
Mm.
You would say, yeah, Michael owes his whole career to the guy.
Yeah, and I think like because of this ongoing dependence on black labor,
Mm,
it almost can create a hatred toward that group of people.
yeah,
It's just like, God, I hate that I need you so much.
yeah,
And I have to maintain. It's almost like they were stuck in this system of slavery because that's all they knew how to maintain. Like, how do I get out of this?
absolutely. Oh,
Very fascinating.
yeah, yeah. The MG, I see your question. Thank you for your donation. With the stock market, we'll talk about that a little bit later. If you go to the Black Financial Channel, I do stock market analysis 2 or 3 times a day. So, if that's your thing and you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe to the blackfinancialchannel.com. Also, if you want to join that class that we have on the 5th on creating a drama-free
Sunday
family,
the 5th.
Sunday the 5th,
Yes.
go to thedramafreefamily.com. That's the URL on the screen. All right, so let's jump back into this whole middle class thing, right? So this idea that 70% of all people consider themselves to be middle class, even though that's not possible. One thing that they said is that being middle class starts with a kind of cultural place.
Mm-hmm.
Your financial priorities matter more than how much money you make, according to cultural anthropologist Caitlin Zaloom, an associate professor of social and cultural analysis at NYU. Your class status starts with a kind of cultural place. It's not necessarily an economic one. We can lead with the idea that class is tied very closely to a particular set of aspirations, and whether or not people have the economic capacity to achieve those aspirations. So you're right. I think that it does start with class, and it's not so much income, right? In fact, I'm going to venture out and use you as an example. Um, Even though, like, so Alicia, I should tell. I'm just going to tell the story. I'm going to go out on a limb here. One of Alicia's colleagues, when Alicia was sitting with one of her colleagues and was stressing out over her job and how to get certain things done, and worried, wondering what to do next, and just a lot of
I'm
interesting.
ambitious.
Yeah, and I get that.
I
I get that,
am.
right? And the guy kept looking at you like really weird, like, why are you even doing all this? And you didn't understand that, and you told me that it was because he was like, you're married to Dr. Boyce Watkins, like, you don't have to be here.
He sure did.
And it's true, you don't, I mean, it's not a secret, like, people have looked up my net worth online and all that crap, and even though I don't know where they get that information, but but still, like, the point is to say, like, you're not a middle class woman, like, we're married, you're upper class based on our income and wealth and all that, but because your mind is still stuck in middle class,
My mindset, yeah.
that's just kind of where you are. And so, to their point, I think that could actually be applied to you, where they say that a lot of middle class people might really be lower class, but they have the culture of a middle class person. So
Yeah.
even without the income, which actually I think is a favorable thing. Maybe for you, the reason you feel like you're middle class when your incomes clearly says you're upper class is because we don't live an upper class lifestyle. We're not out here like spending $1,000 on a Birkin bag. We're not out here trying to, keep up with the Joneses and be hoity-toity. You ain't gonna come to our house and get wine and cheese and caviar. Like, no, you're not gonna see 3 Range Rovers parked in the front, in the front yard, right? Every now and then you might see a drop of something that does show a little bit of, that does kind of reveal that we're a little blessed, right? And I'm honored by that. But we're not into that crap. We don't think that way. So we live a middle class lifestyle, even though our income is, like, we don't tell our white neighbors how much money we make. Like there'll be no reason to. But it's kind of like when they do find out, they're kind of like, whoa. So maybe that's the point, right? It's mindset. It's where
It
do you
really is mindset.
where
It
do you live
really
mentally?
is.
Yeah, I don't need to live in the space of upper class anyway. Like, I don't care about being in the 1%. I just want to be happy.
Yeah, because later in the article, you haven't gotten to that, but later in the article, it said sometimes being poor is so stigmatized that poor people are just like, I don't want to be associated with that, even though your income is not adhering to a middle class income. It's like, I
Interesting.
don't want to be associated with all of those things of poverty.
Huh.
And so you just mentally put yourself in the space where you are middle class, but even though you really don't have the elements of a middle class in terms of economics.
Oh my God, I have a theory.
What's your theory?
My theory is that it's stigmatized to not just be lower class, but it's also a little stigmatized to be upper class.
It is
Nobody
stigmatized.
wants to be in the 1%. So
No.
so maybe that's why we just kind of like, we're like, no, nothing to see here. We're middle class. We're good.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, rich people are stigmatized too.
yeah.
Like
Well,
there are people
they're
who
the one
have,
percent. That's what I was
yeah,
talking
they're
about.
the people have negative views about people who have money.
That is so true.
They do.
That's true.
It's like there's something wrong with them. Like they're bad. They must have done something unethical to get it.
Well, my brother had he had a really interesting saying that he shared with me that I thought was profound. He said the world hates clever people.
They do.
And I said, "What do you mean by it?" And he said, "Yeah, like, if you're a hustler, and I don't know if anybody else has gone through this, but like, if you hustle hard and you're creative and you figure out a way to make a lot of money without working
Mhm.
yourself into the ground, people will just get mad at you for that.
Yeah, they do.
They're just like, screw
and
you."
and it's uncomfortable for people to talk about money and how much money they
Mm.
make. Like we're very uncomfortable with that. You just don't want to. You just don't talk about it. It's rude to talk about how much money you have.
Right. And
Yeah.
honestly, why in the world would I even, if I'm sitting there, I'm trying to connect with my friends.
Right.
Why do I even have to bring up money? It's like talking about the size of your junk. I'm not gonna bring.
TMI. It's TMI. We don't want to hear it. So
Right. I'm
it's
not
in
right.
that taboo category.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be talking about your junk at the dinner party. Like,
Yeah. But
enjoy dinner.
in subtle ways, you get to know how much money people have, because it's like, what did you do over the break? Oh, well, I went on vacation. Where did
We
you go?
we summered. We
We
summered in
summered.
Martha's Vineyard.
There you go. When summer is a verb, that's when you know you made it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then, but you know what's really crazy is like you have so many black families that are like that grew up in the hood. You know, the parents grew up in the hood, but then they became middle and upper class, and they
Mm-hmm.
have these middle class children who don't know nothing about no struggle,
No, they don't know nothing about it.
spoiled as hell, and you don't know what to do with them.
Mhm. Or you got people who have a lot of money and can get into middle class, which is considered the suburban lifestyle. But they just said, you know what, I'm still gonna stay in the hood. I
Mm.
could live there, but I'm gonna keep it real, so to speak, and I'm
Well,
gonna
you
stay
know
in the
what?
hood.
Well, one thing that I think, well, let me say this. I think it's a misperception to think that staying in the hood means living in poverty,
Absolutely,
right? Like
yeah.
there are lots of places now in a lot of hoods across America where
Hmm.
you have black people who are doing well financially,
Yep, and they're
who
like, no, I'm staying right here
yeah,
with
who
my
have built
people.
very nice houses right there in their neighborhood, and have groups of nice houses, you
There's
know.
some challenges that come with that too.
Well, there are some challenges, you know.
Hmm.
My friend that stayed in downtown Louisville, she'll talk about every now and then seeing some stuff that's a little bit disturbing.
Sketchy.
Yeah, a
Hmm.
little sketchy. But for the
Yeah.
most part, her life is actually quite good.
Yeah, but I think it's like the ease of life, like living a suburban life when you have small children.
Mhm.
It's just so much easier. Living in, and I have a lot of friends who raise their children in Chicago, and they talk about some of the challenges that they face. I don't face it because,
Mm.
like, they're worried about, like, what school am I going to get my children into? Because to go to the public school is just not even, come on, that's not middle class status. Upper middle
Mm.
class is my child has to go to Whitney Young or these particular types of schools, and I have to work with them to get them into a school where our public schools here are fantastic.
Well, one of the biggest problems that we
Hmm.
have to deal with, I think, for black people is I know there's a lot of black people who are doing well, who want to be in the hood, they want to be
Hmm.
in the city, and you got to fix this violence issue. You
Right.
got, I mean, just the fact that you live in Chicago or Philly, it's too much pain going around. There's too many
Yeah.
of our children, good kids, just being shot, out of nowhere. And you cannot, I don't care what anybody says, you cannot disconnect that from the fact that white people put this shit music on the air where they're promoting, like somebody mentioned this comment. Like, who was it that said it? Somebody said too much trap music, bargain worlds. That's a good point.
Yeah.
This music that's glorifying murdering black people.
Hmm.
Like, you literally have the marketing. You're marketing to young people that murdering a black person is a badge of honor. That's not a source of shame. It's not
Hmm.
something that that's going to have these consequences. You're literally marketing. Think about it. You're marketing the same way you market McDonald's or you market
Hmm.
Disneyland. Like, kill a
Hmm.
black person and your status goes up. Your credibility goes up. We'll
Hmm.
give you a better job if you murder a black person. You show up with 8 teardrops on your face and you say I got shot 9 times and I shot 9 black people, then we're gonna make you the most famous black person ever. So what happens is you hear these constant stories in all these hoods, Chicago and and Philadelphia and LA and all these other places where you know where you're just seeing all this sadness.
Hmm.
These parents, these heartbroken parents who are saying, damn, my child was a good child, like they weren't hurting nobody, like I raised my baby right, and he just got shot on the way home from school you know
That's going to eliminate a lot of people from those neighborhoods, and I don't have to worry about. It's a privilege. I don't have to worry about my children. Not like that. In other ways, I worry about them. But
hmm
crime, there's very little crime in this
yeah.
neighborhood. Yeah.
Well, and this, what's interesting is that I mean, theoretically it can get to anybody anywhere,
It can
right?
get to
Because
anybody
we
anywhere.
just
Look
saw
what happened to.
Clarence Avon,
Oh my word!
the guy, the
What a
black.
very sad story
Did y'all
that
hear
is.
about that? The Black Godfather. They did a whole documentary about him on Netflix, and his wife, they
But she had
got shot in the house.
security. She had security at the house, and they
Yeah.
still got to her. So that just makes you wonder.
Well, it does make you a lot. I've heard a lot of people say that the murder of Clarence Avon's wife looked like an inside job. Now, who was responsible for the inside job? I dare not speculate, and I want to be respectful in all of that discussion because, one of the people that I love the most and respect the most is Kenny Gamble out of Philadelphia, who is very close to Clarence Avant, and so I won't dwell on that too much, but I will say that it was sad, and they connected it to this crime wave. They said L.A. just has this crazy crime wave going on, where
Do you think they specifically went out for her? Like, forget about everybody else. I'm going for this lady. Do you think she was like targeted?
Well, wasn't he in the house?
I don't know. We don't know if he was in the house. It happened at 2:30 in the morning.
And they had security guards and all that?
They had security at the house, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So the inside job theory, conspiracy theory at this point, that makes sense.
Well, they refer to him as the Black Godfather, and Queen's Reflection says, seems like a hit.
Yeah.
Well, in the movie The Godfather, there were a lot of hits.
Yeah. Don't associate your name, Boyce, with any sort of mafia terminology.
I don't want to be the Godfather of nothing.
No.
The consigliere.
The Godfather of the internet.
The financial consigliere.
No. You are so funny.
Yeah. Well, that's not. We shouldn't be.
We shouldn't make fun of this because this lady lost.
Yeah, it is, and I didn't mean to make light of it. But I'm very sorry to see that this happened, and it, and I mean the violence is everywhere in America, and America has more guns than people.
Yes, they do.
That right there shows that we are mentally ill.
I don't think any other country can say that.
No, I don't think
we're just a gun-toting country. I mean, our entire foundation was on violence. So, of course, that's what we're going to be about.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, everybody, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. If you could, take a second to hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And we started off talking about the title of the video, but as y'all know, we tend to just we do streams of consciousness here and talk about whatever is interesting going on in the world. And so, so speaking of that.
I like digressing.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of this, oh, and by the way, the dramafreefamily.com, that's where you can go if you want to join our class on how to create a drama-free family. We're actually doing that class together on the 5th. It's a one-day event. So if you'd like to join us, go to the dramafreefamily.com. So speaking of Clarence Avant, did you know who his daughter's married to?
You told me this morning. I couldn't believe it. But that makes sense that he would be married to the CEO of Netflix.
Yes.
She is married to the CEO of Netflix.
His daughter is married to the CEO of Netflix. Wow, that'll get you some inroads in the movie industry.
What a great way.
That'll help you make some connects.
Wow.
I did not know that. That's so interesting. Yeah, her name's Nicole Avant, and she's married to Ted Sarandos. And I got to look up Ted's bio.
Sarandos. That sounds like a Italian name.
Interesting.
Anyway,
well, if you let, I guess if you're gonna let white people in the family, I guess he's a good standard because at least it's funny.
Not no broke white person.
Right. At least
Where'd you find?
If you marry a broke white man, I'm gonna give you the side eye. Yeah, but he's the chief executive officer of Netflix. Literally, he is an American businessman who serves as the co-chief executive officer and chief content officer for Netflix.
Content officer.
Yes, yes, good for him. Well, what's interesting is that it makes me think about all the really good Black content that's been appearing on Netflix.
Oh, we just finished last night.
Yes, True Story. Shout out to Kevin Hart.
That was such a great series.
Oh, it was the best. Did anybody else watch True Story with Kevin Hart? Let me know if you saw that.
Bravo to Kevin Hart
and Wesley Snipes.
Oh, the acting was so great.
Oh, and Wesley Snipes. I root for Wesley. Anything Wesley does,
it should be nominated for something.
Oh yeah, Wesley Snipes could be on trial for murder, and I'd be rooting for Wesley to kill him, because Wesley Snipes is he's a powernomics guy.
He is a powernomics guy.
Yeah. Dr. Claude Anderson talks regularly about Wesley Snipes and his support for the B1 community and powernomics and all that, and so you got to root for any Black person out here who's really fighting for Black people.
Yeah, so, I forgive him for making that comment about black women. Remember,
What
long
is?
time
Oh no!
ago, he made a comment about black
Why are
women
we
I didn't
digging up
like.
old stuff? Oh, what did he
I
say?
am digging up old stuff because
What?
I still
But you know
remember.
what? Hey, if he said it, he said it. What did he say?
He said something. I don't remember what it was, but he said something derogatory about black women because I think he's married to an
Oh,
Asian woman or
oh
something.
no,
And that
oh no.
just, but you know, whatever.
Oh, but yeah, that's not cool. Well, I'm sure
Yeah.
Wesley is sorry. I hope he's sorry.
I don't think he's sorry, but
We can't have that. We can't. No disrespecting black women
I
up in
do
here.
remember that. And I don't remember what he said, but it just stuck with me. Like every time you say Wesley Snipes' name, I just remember, oh, he made that comment about black women.
Well, you know what?
I don't like that.
If he said it, he needs to be held accountable for
You
it.
can't
Ain't no.
categorize an entire group of people like that. That's not fair.
Yeah. Oh,
Especially since your mama was a black woman. But
ooh. Wow. So yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
looking at
like
this.
that.
They said are black women still mad at Wesley
Yes,
Snipes?
we are still mad at you, but he did
Damn.
a wonderful job in that movie. I kind of forgive him a little bit, but it stays with me.
He was tried in the port. So this is according to a 2015 article in the South Florida Times. They said Snipes was tried in the court of public opinion about comments he made in an Ebony article regarding black women.
Yes.
Many black women were done with Snipes after he made the comment, but they don't mention the comment. They said dating the Asian woman at the time, Snipes weighed in on how he thought black women felt about black men dating outside of the race. He said there are still black women who get an attitude
Yes, we
about black
do.
men with Asian, white, or Hispanic women. His theory for why. Quote, I know we've all been hurt and we're all very wounded. We have to acknowledge that, both male and female, in the black experience. We're a wounded people. Well, that sounds pretty good so far. And we want to possess and we want to own. We don't want to compromise. We feel like we've compromised enough. But in any
What?
relationship, you have to compromise. So he said he should have probably stopped there, but he continued by explaining what successful black men do not want to encounter. In response to a question posed to him during the interview, Snipes made comments regarding a man not wanting to come home to someone who's going to be mean and aggravating and unkind, and who is going to be please me, please, that many believed were directed towards black women. When he was asked to clarify, Snipes asserted that he did not mean a black woman cannot be the type of woman that a man wants to come home to, before putting his proverbial foot in his mouth by adding, quote, I want to come home and I don't want to argue. I want to be pleasing, but if I ask you to get me a glass of water, you're going to say, them days are over. Please, come on.
No, black women get their man water all the time.
You
What
get
is
you get you
this?
get me water.
Yeah, but it's not just me. I'm not unique. There's a ton of black women that give their men water. Like, come on, Wesley Snipes. That's dang.
Well, you know, that's the thing. But
I
he
don't
did
like
well,
that.
let's just
Wait,
be
how many years ago was that article?
I don't. Well, the article was written in 2015, and they
Oh,
said, "Are black women still mad at Wesley Snipes?" So I don't know what year the Ebony um piece came out,
it
but
was a
maybe it
long
came out
time ago.
really okay. You know, but so maybe he's evolved since then. But here's the thing, right?
Hmm.
And then I see an article in Post Bougie that says, "Irrefutable Black Truth: Wesley Snipes hates black women."
Hmm.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that comment says he hates black women.
He was defending himself as to why he was dating an Asian woman. So he was trying to say, "I'm dating an Asian woman because black women don't do this," and that's a
Mm.
mistake.
Well, I think anytime you generalize, it's not going to work. I do agree.
You agree with me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, and well, we've been practicing agreeing with each other, Lord, 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 help me if I ever were to imply that you could make things make be hard to get along with, because I would end up hearing about it for 3 days.
Oh my God. Is this the case in point what Wesley Snipes was talking about?
You know what? No, you know what it is. It's not that. You know, I think I just really think in general, and we all do it. We all stereotype. Part of the reason, honestly, I don't get offended. I don't really when white people stereotype me is because, one, I don't care what other people think. But then number two, I honestly think a lot of us do. I hear people all the time say, well, you know, how white people, like I'll talk about white people and their dogs. I'd be like, you know, how white people love their dogs. And that right there, if somebody said that, if a white person said that about black people, well, you know how black people love their music. You know,
We do love that
you know, how
music.
black people love their chitlins. Well, no, but it would be seen as racist. It'd be like, oh, you're racist. You think every black person eats chitlins? No, they were speaking in generalities, right? Like that's what we do, right?
Okay.
So I think um I think that there are cultural differences. I think any black woman who's dated a black man or dated black men, and also maybe dated, let's say, Latin men, and then dated maybe Asian men, she would probably be able to point out differences in culture.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Culture matters, and so, but culture does not matter as much as the individual characteristics of the person you're dealing with.
Yeah, even that individual has some cultural tendencies or cultural themes going on, not even just in them and their family and their view of how they see family, how they see relationships, and how they see themselves.
Yeah, so I think with Wesley, I think the mistake he might have made in that comment is not so much what he said, but more so about
Mm-hmm.
um making sure that, like, if they ask you about your Asian wife, or your wife, period, talk about your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a wonderful person. She knows what I like,
Mm-hmm.
love of my life, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I,
because who else is married to an Asian? Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yeah,
He not once says anything terrible about black women. Please
yeah,
don't, because if he
yeah,
did, that's it.
yeah.
He'd really be canceled.
Yeah, you don't have to say to
Yeah,
black women like, "This is why I reject y'all."
yeah,
No, you just say, you know what, Ming Su met me in the club, and she was the coolest lady ever, and we just
yeah.
got along and we got married, and people will just kind of be like,
We'll
okay.
just be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I think that's probably it. Like, because you think about it, you don't hear. I've never heard like Serena Williams say, "Well, I married
Mm-hmm.
a pasty white man
Oh
because
gosh.
black men are garbage." Well, come on, that
Yeah.
man was pasty.
Yeah. So Dave Chappelle, I mean, I think he deliberately doesn't talk about his wife being Asian, because he did his bit and he talked about Asians, but he never really referred to his wife in that bit.
Oh, he don't talk about his wife.
In
He
terms of
he.
that, he talks about his wife a lot, but he doesn't talk about her
I've never heard him talk about his
racialized.
wife.
Yes, he did.
And
He does.
really,
In
I,
his bit, he'll talk about his
I
wife.
have never heard him talk about his wife.
But he doesn't talk about his wife in a racialized sense,
Really? Okay.
which is
Okay.
very smart on his point, because he knows his audience.
Usually, when I see Dave Chappelle, I do not see him with his wife.
He's with
I'm
his
sure.
wife a lot.
I'm sure he does red carpets and stuff with his wife, but most of that stuff, like when I saw that whole controversy with his last Netflix special, I didn't see hardly anything
I
that.
didn't like her. She seems to be
I mean,
pretty.
she definitely seems
Yeah.
cool, and Dave Chappelle's cool. Dave Chappelle's real cool, but
Hmm.
I kind of feel like, for certain people, they kind of do like a Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris rarely talks about her husband Doug. You
I
know,
forgot that he was married. She was married to
right,
him.
right,
Yeah.
and you forgot because they're not marketing it. They
Okay.
market to you what they want you to know. Like, for example, I bet even though you forgot that Kamala was married to Doug, I bet you didn't forget that she went to Howard.
And you know what? You didn't forget well, I guess Barack Obama, even when he was running and everything, you didn't forget that Michelle was right there with him.
Oh, Michelle was
Because that
in your
made him
face all the
legitimate.
time.
Because Michelle was a
Yeah,
real black person.
yeah, like public figures, they let you see what they want you to see. Even us.
Hmm.
So there's Kamala with Doug. Look, they look so much in love.
And she's a mother too. I think she's got stepchildren.
Yeah. She's got Doug's kids. She raises Doug's. She's a good man.
Where's
No,
the mama?
sorry.
How come the mama ain't?
I didn't say nanny. I'm sorry.
Did you say mammy or nanny?
Well, Mammy's better actually.
Oh,
I was gonna say nanny, but
it's not nice.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. But maybe I'm not. But you know but no, seriously though, like, people, you see what they want you to see. So
Hmm.
you don't see Doug because Kamala really don't want you to see Doug. But you know she went to Howard because that was what she needed to get elected. You know she had the Chucks and Pearls, so you know
Hmm.
she's an AKA because
Hmm.
that's what she needed to get elected. Doug was a liability. That
Stand down, Doug. We're trying to win this
Right, she's
election.
like, Doug, I need you to duck. Your name's gonna be Duck
Your name's gonna
during
be
this election.
Dodge.
Right, your name's gonna be Doug and Dodge this whole election because we do not need black people to see that,
Yeah.
maybe I'm not black to the core. Because I think black to the core means you're like, I gotta marry a black person. Like, so
Yeah.
she could be defined as black, possibly, even though that's been debated heavily, but she's not blackity black.
No, wait. Now her father's Jamaican and her mother is
Her mother's Tamil. She's from India.
from India. I don't see there. Well, that's not African American in that at all.
But no, there's no African American. Well, that's what tends to happen in politics.
Uh-huh.
The black people that tend to get elevated, number one, they tend to be lighter skinned. Number two, they tend to be different from rank and file African Americans.
Okay.
Like like Barack Obama was raised in Hawaii and what was it, some part of Southeast Asia, Indonesia or something,
Mm-hmm.
and or you had Valerie Jarrett who worked for Barack, who was a black woman who was raised in Iran. Come on, who the hell do you know that was raised in Iran? I'm not
Uh-huh.
nothing against Iran, right?
Yeah.
There's good people there,
But they
but
didn't have the black experience,
they did not have the black
and
experience.
it showed because they're
Yeah.
out of touch.
Oh, they're very out of touch.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
out of touch. And then so same thing with Kamala Harris. So I think it's interesting, right? But anyway,
We
so
digress again.
I know
Get back to the
we're
article,
just
boys.
digressing. But no, but see, to my point,
Mm-hmm.
that they want you to see, they let you see what they want you to see, right? So like a lot of people that know you,
Mm-hmm.
they see you and I, right? They don't know that I was in a whole relationship for the first 4 or 5 years that they knew me. I had a whole long relationship. You know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just never brought it up. I didn't, she and I both agreed. She was a nice lady, but she and I both agreed that we didn't really want to talk publicly about our relationship, and I didn't feel comfortable talking publicly about a relationship with a woman that was not going to be my wife. So
Oh.
until we had decided to possibly get to that point, we kind of kept it under wraps. But once I knew I was going to get married, I mean that I screamed that from the rooftops. and
Oh.
you- and you and you have to do that a little bit as a man, because you don't want to be out here pretending to be single when you really do have somebody at home, because women
Mm.
women will come to your inbox. Women will hit you up and be like, hey, would you like to go out? Hey, hey, Dr. Watkins, I really need you to call me to help me with a financial question that I have. And and
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah, yeah, people operate. So by me making it clear, like, hey, I got a whole wife, and she's awesome, and I respect her, and all that. I think that just kind of it minimizes the amount of confusion.
Yeah. There's a lot of men out here, a lot of professional men. If you're like, wow, you're married, they never put their wife. We should call them out. They don't ever
Well,
put their
I
their
don't call
spouse up.
nobody out. I ain't
They
calling
never,
nobody.
but for good reason. I think sometimes it's a double-edged sword. So like if you showcase your wife, then that comes with some challenges.
Well, I got called a whole simp on the internet,
Yeah,
and I was like, what? Wait a minute, how did I suddenly become a simp? Wait,
because you wanted to get married.
because I
Yeah,
love this woman. I'm not scared to say it. I think that actually takes courage. Like, the
yeah.
simp is the guy who's scared to profess his love in public. Somebody knows this. I'm not. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't get that, but it really
Hmm.
opened my eyes to how they've kind of deformed our culture. Like I just always thought that the goal of a black man was to be a king, and a king is it's hard to be a king when you ain't got a queen. And so
Mm.
my goal was always like, okay, one day I'll have a queen and I'll be a full king. I'll be a full grown ass man, you know, with a family and
And living a middle class lifestyle.
yeah, well, they ain't
But
like,
I think that's the middle class lifestyle is the ideal.
well,
It's the ideal American lifestyle.
I just want to be happy. I think being happy is
Hmm.
the goal, right? Like I find that's to me, I found that to be more valuable than the money. The money is just a tool to find
Hmm.
the happiness, right? And I think self awareness, kind of knowing who you are and knowing what you want, and then when you get the money to go get the things you want, then that works for you. That allows you to kind of say, okay, I've done it, mission accomplished. And because eventually, because money wears off. Money
Hmm.
is a drug. It'll get you high for about 2 weeks, and then you go back to your miserable, shitty life again. Like
True.
seriously, like
It's
you
so
got to
true.
find your bliss. You got to find that shit that's more important than money. If you
Look
can't,
at
if you
you.
can't find that, then the money won't do it for you. I'm telling you.
It's empty. There's a curvilinear relationship between money and happiness.
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
and take it from a guy who gets paid $15,000-$20,000 to give 20-minute speeches. The money ain't gonna create the bliss for you. You got to find that on your own. And so I would encourage everybody. Like, I'm a big fan of therapy. I'm a big fan of taking the time of meditation, taking the time to establish self awareness, Figure out who the hell you are, and stop letting the media tell you who you're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know you. So anyway, you got any final thoughts, babe?
No, I think this is a really good topic, and I don't want to underestimate what happened to Avant, his wife. That
Oh
was a
yeah,
pretty sad thing,
yeah. Oh,
and I
absolutely.
saw her documentary on his documentary on Netflix.
Oh, it
Now we
was so
know
good.
about that. It was. I encourage everybody to take a look at that. And she's featured in there, and their relationship is featured in that documentary. And what a remarkable woman she was.
Yeah, they've been
Um,
married what, 50 years?
over 50 years they were married, and he loved. I mean, he was just in love with her. The entire storyline is beautiful.
I think when she
Um,
was young,
hmm
when she looked like when she was young, she was like gorgeous.
Oh, I mean,
I mean,
she's
she's
gorgeous
gorgeous
now.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's gorgeous now. But I bet when she was young, I want to see if I can find a picture of when they were young, because it's because I feel like I don't know, it's beautiful to see that, right? To see a family. Oh wow, okay, I found a picture.
Oh,
I'm,
look how cute.
I'm gonna share the picture with y'all.
Yeah. And they interviewed the children in the documentary, and they're very, you can tell they really have themselves together, and I think they're got their grandchildren too. So it's just a beautiful family, I
Yeah,
thought.
look at that. Oh, what a pretty family.
Yeah.
Huh? They got the big collars
That
from the
was the style.
70s.
That was the style back then.
From the 70s. I love it though. I
Yeah.
love it. It's a great it's a good love story. And I'm sorry that she's not here anymore.
Yeah.
But they've had a good long life together.
They have had, and I can't even imagine how he feels right now.
Oh, I can't imagine either.
Gee whiz.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Well, R.I.P. and
Mm-hmm.
our heart goes out. So God bless everybody. It was great talking to you. And again, this is Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Again, this weekend we're doing that whole class on how to build a drama-free family. So if you are interested in joining us, you can actually follow Alicia on Instagram. Go to Coaching with Dr. Alicia, and there's a link in the bio on how to join the class. So feel free. We're going to talk about communication techniques to help you get along better, getting intimacy with your partner,
Mm-hmm.
dealing with kids, and
Mm-hmm.
or other people's kids. Like just respect. Parental alienation is a big problem in our community.
Yeah, I think it's
Where
domestic violence. Parental alienation is performing domestic violence on the non-custodial parent,
well,
damaging them
let's
psychologically.
explain what that is in general.
Yeah.
Basically, like when you hear somebody say, he turned my kids against me, or she turned my kids against me,
Mm-hmm.
that's a type of parental alienation, and that happens in a lot of families. And there are ways to kind of deal with things like that. So this is really for people that really want to have healthier families. They really want to figure out, how do I get along with that relative that's driving me crazy, or how do I deal with this thing going on with the kids, or how do I. And I can tell you, around here it takes a whole village to deal with these little SOBs.
See, now you went from children are so beautiful to, yeah, it takes a village to put these
Fuck them
kids in line.
kids.
I'm rubbing off on
Oh,
you.
we love them. We love them so much. We really do. But I'm telling you, we really, it really takes like strategy.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it
People
really
know.
does.
People know.
Yeah. By the way, Ryan Brown made a donation. I want to say thank you, Ryan. I appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. And so there you go. So follow Alicia at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. The link is in the bio if you want to join the class Saturday. So God bless you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Take
Okay.
care.
Goodbye, everyone.